you guys? Jasmine out here in Singapore. Thank you so much for joining me. Night Out Podcast as always, you guys, and it is reaching further and further out into the world. So I am so grateful, so proud, and just really, really happy to be working on my progress, working on my work, and just, putting myself out there on a daily basis. It's not easy. It's very scary, actually, but I feel pretty good about it because I'm doing it for me. I'm not doing it for anybody else. I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it my way. I'm not doing it the way everybody else is doing it. Because if you look at the podcast, right, it wasn't until this year that I even put an intro on it. And even then, it's not it's not a fantastic intro. I'm very grateful to the artist who actually created the intro for me. But even then, it's like, I leveled up. I tried something different. And I try very, very hard not to edit anything when I record this podcast, and I try really hard to do it all in one take as well. So sometimes I pause it for a second to make sure that I can collect my thoughts, but other than that, I just continue recording. And once it's done, it's done. Then I put it up there and, add the blurb so you know what the hell I'm talking about, and we go on our merry way. So today is another one of those days where I'm just going back through some of my posts. You guys, for those of you who are actually following me on Instagram, you know I use my stories. I really use my stories. I promote a lot of local talents, a lot of local businesses, and then a lot of different accounts that I follow, people that I actually follow consistently, not like random people that I'm looking for. I actually consistently follow these people, and I love the things that they have to say, and not always. Sometimes it's something that they said that I don't agree with. Sometimes it's something that they said that was like, yo, I completely did not see it that way before, but that makes so much more sense now. I understand, and I feel better about life. So one of those wonderful, wonderful accounts that I love to follow is Tom Bilyeu. You guys know him for Impact Theory, and I really like the way he and his wife are kind of tackling self-development and mindset and motivation. So one of the quotes that came up was the fact that he says, there are 5 principles that he lives by, and I just want to tackle the first one. He says, I'm responsible for everything in my life. Everything. And I love that so entirely much, mostly because it wasn't until I really took my life into my own hands and really owned all that was, affecting my life or whatever, meaning to say that I realized everything that I had at some point or another is something that I wanted. And maybe I outgrew it. Maybe it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. You know how they make a wishes of a genie, and then you've come to find out you should have been a little bit more careful about what you were wishing for. So it's kind of like that. Like, you say you want this person, and then you get this person in your life, and you come to find out, that person is not all they're cracked up to be. They're not who they say they are. They're not what everyone thought they were. They're not what the appearance seems to be, right? And so you start to learn what you can and cannot tolerate. You start to draw boundaries, and if they filter out of your life, they filter out of your life. But the point is, I am 100% responsible for my life. There is no fairy godmother. There is no knight in shining armor. I don't want the knight in shining armor anyway, because that means he's never seen a lick of battle ever. And there's no one else who's going to come rescue me. My mom would be like a guiding light along the way. My brother would be a guiding light along the way. Baby girl is going to be a guiding light along the way. But they can't do for me in order for me to rescue my life, in order for me to fix things that I've created myself. They can't do things for me, because when they do things for me, they enable me to stay as I am and allow me to continue just drifting on through life. Now, I've had many, many people in my life just like that. They come into my life and I feel like, you know what? I can help them out. I can support them a little bit along the way. And sometimes me supporting them is not actually appreciated. Me supporting them means that they get to chill and not really work hard anymore because they've got somebody else that's got their back. Now, most of the time, when I support somebody, they realize, holy shit, you know what? This is what I've been waiting for my entire life. I've been praying for a break. I needed somebody to have my back one time, because it seems like everybody's always, leaving me behind or not taking me seriously or not in it for me. They're in it for themselves. Forever being used by people. And when I come to support them, they're like, yo, thank God. I'm going to use this to the best of my ability to make sure that I never need support ever again, because I'm going to appreciate while I have it. So with that being said, I absolutely take 100% responsibility for my life. The bad relationships that I've been in, totally my fault, right? I'm not saying that the breakup was entirely my fault, but I asked for that relationship and I created the culture. I helped create the culture inside that relationship. I allowed some things to happen that I shouldn't have. I turned a blind eye sometimes when I shouldn't have. I changed myself sometimes when I shouldn't have. And so all those things kind of contribute to a not so great relationship status. It becomes very codependent and toxic, and that means I contributed, y'all. It takes 2 hands to clap. And once I realized that I was responsible, right? the way I went about problem solving was very, very different. It means that I can't ask somebody else to do something for me, right? It means I got to step up to the plate. I got to do the dirty work. I got to do the heavy lifting. I got to show up, especially when I don't want to show up, because that's the integrity of being me, right? I got to be there. I got to do what I say I'm going to do, even after the mood has passed me by. Me being responsible for something changed the way I saw life. If I didn't have people depending on me, I more than likely wouldn't push to be more than I am. If I had someone who had my back, right, and I didn't have any responsibilities really that tied me to the earth, I could, let's say, do the bare minimum, skate through life, and complain when things don't go my way. It'd be very easy. I know a lot of people who do that. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm saying it's a phase. Every one of us go through that until we realize, yo, rock bottom hits, and suddenly you got to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, get your shit together, and start working towards the life you really, really want. It's no longer okay to sit around and be like, oh, I'm depressed. I know from my own experience that when I get depressed, it's because I don't like the reality that is my life, which means I'm fighting against something. And if I got to fight against something every day, guess what? That's a lot of energy. So I need to do something about it. Either I accept it for what it is and I adjust accordingly, or if I can't accept it, I got to do something to change it. I may not be able to change the characters in my story, but I can definitely change the way I relate to them, the way I respond to them, the way I treat them. I can change all of that. I can limit the amount of time that I spend with those people that make me feel like shit. I can spend more time with people who make me feel like I'm filled with possibility and I am capable of succeeding. That's all within my reach. That's all within my scope of control. But it wasn't until I realized I was responsible that I took things seriously. There was a section of my life when I was married, right? I was married for 4 years, but I was with him for 8 years. Okay. And during that time period, there was a part of me that kind of settled. And I was like, all right, you know what? Hey, I'm married now. I can't, I'm not trying to get divorced. I'm not trying to leave these kids because there are kids involved. I have 2 stepkids. And at the time I was like, nope, I'm in it for the long haul. I'm committed here. And so as much as we did not talk, as much as we did not function very well or efficiently, it was not sustainable, but I tried my level best and I kept reducing myself so that he would feel more comfortable, right? He was very jealous and possessive. He would not let me go anywhere. He thought that I was always up to something, that I was trying to meet people or flirt with people and everything. So I started bringing my kids around to make sure that, I had witnesses to say that I wasn't up to any mischief. So instead of allowing him to filter out of my life because I was going to do what I was going to do, and I knew that I wasn't up to any mischief, instead of standing my ground and telling him, no, you either trust me or you don't, and if you don't trust me, then, we should part ways, I adjusted. I accepted my fate, and I figured, you know what? This is a sacrifice I gotta make for my marriage. At that point, that's what I wanted to do in order to keep the marriage alive. Later on, I realized that that's not what I want to do anymore. It takes too much effort, and I can't deal with paranoia and crazy. I can't do it. It's just too much. And it makes me really doubt myself, and it makes me feel like I am always deceiving people and that I'm always, doing things out of character, and it was just exhausting to me. And once I realized that it was within my right to change, the landscape, and once I realized that I could no longer keep up this charade and continue pouring energy into this relationship that was not serving me at all. I didn't get anything out of the relationship. Yeah, I had a roof over my head, but I could have done that at home too with my family. Yeah, I had a job, but I could have gotten a job anywhere. At the time, I justified it and said, no, I needed to be here in this specific place. I needed to be in Williamsburg or in Hampton, and I needed to be with this man because, if it wasn't this man, then who would, right? And those are the things I told myself in order to justify these bad decisions. But eventually, when it got so bad that I could not bear to wake up another morning and do the same thing over and over again, I decided to change. I decided to get up and leave. I finally took responsibility for my life. And the same thing with when I got to Singapore, and I found that every time I went to work for another person in Singapore, right, they hire you based on all of your qualifications, and then they don't let you use none of them because they know best. They hire you for marketing, but they go tell you how to market. because they don't trust any of the new age stuff, and they don't trust that, a different strategy from newspaper and print and radio and TV might actually work, that social media really does have benefits, so that they tie your hands and then blame you for not moving forward. So at that point, I couldn't take it anymore. I didn't want to go work for anybody else anymore. I didn't want to build anybody else's dreams because they weren't listening to me in the first place. So guess what? I decided to throw everything to the side because I figured I could always go get a job. I mean, if you can see retired men and women working in a canteen, cleaning plates off of the tables of guests who have come to eat, and they still make a living, I know I can get a job anytime. But there's only a limited amount of time that I could actually try this idea of entrepreneurship because I have a decent amount of energy right now in my 40s, right? And I do have a kid that I want to see grow up, and I don't want to miss any milestones. And so I took a chance. But even then, that was because I decided, you know what? I'm in charge of my life. I'm not about to let somebody else dictate what I can and can't do with my time just because I'm on a salary. I'm not going to let somebody tell me that, oh no, you belong to me, even if it's after hours, because I need you to answer your WhatsApp and your email and your phone whenever I call you because I pay you. I wasn't about to do that again. So every time I've hit rock bottom, every time I've allowed myself to shrink or accepted life for what it is, life tends to amp up and irritate me to the point of I can't take it anymore and I have no choice but to change and take responsibility and try something different. Even in the entrepreneurial journey, right? There was a time where I realized that, you know what? I can't just do the bare minimum anymore. A little bit of money just to cover the bills is not enough. I need a little bit more than that because I want to save. I don't want to be working this hard forever. I want to increase my wages. Just like I work for somebody else and after a year I'm looking for an increment, I need to be able to increment myself. If I'm the boss of my company, right? If I'm an army of one within this entrepreneurial journey, then I need to be able to give myself a raise every so often. But for that to happen, I got to amp up my strategies, my efforts, my consistency. So every step along the way, I usually try to accept it first. Be like, all right, well, this is the deal. I have no choice. This is what it's going to be. But when I settle like that, more often than not, life would gear up and continue to create that friction where I can't stand the work that I'm doing or stand the people that I'm around, where I have to finally say something and be like, yo, what, are you kidding me? This is not how you treat people. I finally have to draw a line in the sand. I finally have to put up a boundary. And whether they like it or not, I get a chance to take my life back on my terms. So when Tom Bilyeu says I'm responsible for everything in my life, and he means everything, it's true. You're responsible for what food you put into your body. That's a choice you make every time you sit down to eat. Okay? It's a choice you make every time you take something to drink, whether you drink water or not, or drink something that's healthful or not. Right? How much time you spend outdoors in the sunshine. That's a choice you make. Because if you really want it bad enough, you're going to find a way. Let's think about kids, right? If they really want something, they're going to nag you to death until they get what they want. They will wear you down. They're the best salespeople on the planet. So, you have a choice every time. Your life, your responsibility. You don't like what's going on? Find a way to change it. There are millions of ways to change things. And guess what? There have been millions of people that have written books about every possible problem there is out there, and there's a solution for it. They've got their own strategies. All you got to do is find one way that works for you. You may have to try 10 different ways before you find one, but you just need one that works. And eventually, when that one no longer works, you just find another one. It's not as hard as you would think. But let me tell you how empowering it is to realize that you are in control. You're not in control of everything, but you are in control of your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, your words, your responses. You're in charge of that. And that's plenty. Trust me. So if you got any questions, you guys drop them in the comments below. I want to hear from you. But in the meantime, feel the power. Understand how much control you have over your life. Because you do. It's your responsibility. All right? I'll catch you again soon. Bye.